The foundation of this culture lies in clear role definitions, eligibility criteria, and background checks. Each role should have documented responsibilities tied to specific access privileges and training requirements. Eligibility ensures individuals meet baseline standards of competence and trustworthiness before being granted access. Background screening validates identity and revealed potential risk indicators, such as prior misconduct or falsified credentials. For example, hiring for a role that manages encryption keys should involve both technical assessment and integrity verification. Consistency in screening and documentation prevents gaps that adversaries or negligence could exploit. These steps establish confidence that those handling sensitive data are both capable and reliable. Acceptable use and conduct standards provide the behavioral framework for all personnel. These policies outline how technology and information assets may be used and the consequences of misuse. Without them, employees are left guessing where ethical and legal boundaries lie. For instance, a clear acceptable use policy might prohibit storing company data on personal devices or forwarding sensitive emails outside secure channels. Conduct standards also address respectful workplace behavior, as harassment or insider misuse can undermine morale and security alike. Regular acknowledgement of these standards creates a shared understanding that compliance extends beyond technology to everyday professionalism and accountability. Onboarding is the first opportunity to apply workforce governance in action. Defined timeframes ensure that new hires complete required forms, background verification, training, and access requests before performing duties. A structured onboarding checklist reduces the risk of granting premature access or missing required disclosures. For example, ensuring all privacy and security agreements are signed within the first week aligns personnel readiness with compliance obligations. Efficient onboarding benefits both security and productivity by integrating employees smoothly while maintaining control over sensitive resources. It also sets the tone that adherence to policy begins on day one, not after an audit reminder. Access provisioning and least privilege connect workforce processes directly to system security. When a role is approved, access should match only the permissions necessary to fulfill duties. This principle limits potential damage from human error or insider misuse. Automated provisioning workflows tied to human resource systems help enforce consistency, granting and revoking access as employment status changes. For example, when a staff member transfers departments, their previous access should be removed automatically rather than left lingering. Least privilege turns access control from a technical configuration into a governance discipline that demonstrates traceability and proportionality for every user account. Training programs bring workforce assurance to life. Cadence refers to how often training occurs, while role-based modules tailor content to specific responsibilities. General awareness may cover phishing, password hygiene, and incident reporting, while advanced modules address topics like secure coding or patient privacy. Regular refreshers maintain vigilance and demonstrate continuous improvement. For instance, annual mandatory training supplemented by quarterly micro-lessons keeps knowledge current without overwhelming staff. Documented completion records serve as evidence during R2 reviews. Training, when framed as professional development rather than compliance, strengthens engagement and retention while protecting organizational integrity. Phishing simulations and reporting channels test whether training translates into real-world behavior. Controlled phishing exercises help identify susceptibility patterns and provide targeted follow-up education. More importantly, they reinforce reporting culture. Staff learn that promptly flagging suspicious messages is valued, not punished. Dedicated reporting channels, such as a one-click email button or hotline, simplify this process. For example, a team that reports simulated phishing within minutes shows operational readiness against real threats. The goal is not to shame, but to build reflexes and trust. Over time, these simulations turn awareness into instinct, contributing measurable proof that workforce controls are functioning effectively. Performance feedback ties individual accountability to policy adherence. Regular evaluations should include compliance behaviors alongside job performance. Recognizing staff who exemplify good security hygiene reinforces positive habits, while addressing lapses early prevents normalization of risky shortcuts. For instance, feedback sessions can include discussions about policy updates or recent incidents relevant to the employee's role. When security becomes a routine part of professional development conversations, it loses its stigma as a separate burden. This approach integrates assurance into the human experience of work, making compliance a shared responsibility rather than a periodic audit exercise. Offboarding closes the employment lifecycle by ensuring access revocation and asset recovery occur promptly. Termination or role change triggers must link to identity management systems so that accounts, keys, and credentials deactivate immediately. Physical assets, such as laptops or badges, should be returned and verified against inventories. For example, confirming deactivation within 24 hours of departure prevents orphaned accounts that attackers could exploit. Proper offboarding also includes removing access to shared repositories, third-party tools, and messaging channels. Timely and documented closure preserves confidentiality while demonstrating control continuity through personnel transitions. Metrics bring transparency and improvement to workforce management. Tracking completion rates for training, background checks, and policy acknowledgments highlights participation gaps. Exception tracking identifies individuals or departments missing deadlines and helps focus remediation efforts. For instance, if one team consistently lags in training completion, leadership can investigate workload or communication issues. Quantitative insight turns compliance into measurable progress. Presenting these metrics in dashboards or audit reports shows that the organization monitors itself as rigorously as it is monitored by others. Metrics convert people practices into performance indicators of governance maturity. Evidence anchors every workforce control. Rosters confirm who is employed and in what role. Signed acknowledgments show understanding of policies. Exported records from learning management or access systems verify completion and timing. Maintaining this documentation in a structured repository supports both internal oversight and external assurance. For example, being able to produce a single file showing training completion rates across all departments saves days of audit preparation. Evidence is the connective tissue between intent and proof, showing that governance is not only designed but demonstrably operating as expected. Alignment with human resources and legal departments ensures that workforce management integrates seamlessly into corporate governance. Human resources administer hiring, onboarding, and performance systems, while legal interprets regulatory and contractual obligations. Collaboration between these functions avoids conflicting guidance and ensures disciplinary actions or privacy notifications follow proper procedures. For example, legal review of termination processes helps prevent retaliation claims while maintaining compliance with employment law. When security, HR, and legal move in sync, workforce management becomes both humane and defensible, bridging operational control with ethical accountability. A consistent, auditable workforce program demonstrates that assurance is not confined to technology but extends to human reliability. By defining roles, managing access, training regularly, and enforcing standards, organizations create predictability in how people interact with systems and information. Each process, hiring, onboarding, training, or offboarding, becomes a link in the assurance chain. When these links hold firm, the R2 framework gains credibility because it reflects lived discipline rather than theoretical compliance. Over time, this approach turns workforce management into a hallmark of organizational maturity, proving that trust is built through both process and people.